Joining us now to talk about the very latest on tariffs is Ryan Patel. Ryan is a global business executive and senior fellow at the Drucker School of Management of Claremont Graduate University. Ryan, good to see you again. Thanks for coming in.
Great to be on with you, Sean.
Okay, other than the EU, the United States is the world's largest importer of steel, and prices spiked on Trump's new tariff mandates. So what is this doing to the industry and to U.S. pricing?
So if you think of the immediate impact, right, what it means is it could lead to increased input costs. So for manufacturers and downstream industries, here's the key part here, particularly constructions, automotive, and consumer goods, it can increase the prices. Well, I understand that what he's trying to do is trying to protect the domestic producers, but it then introduce pricing pressures that we will see for businesses that rely on these materials in the short term, and many of them in the small to mid-size. So over time, this definitely has a ripple effect and can also influence, pricing strategies, which we'll see that's different, and even global sourcing decisions should this hold for a longer period of time.
And to follow up on that, reports are emerging now that the administration is putting pressure on trading partners to come up with their best offer by Wednesday ahead of the 90-day deadline. So is this a good move if indeed this is true?
Well, I mean, this is a strategy that we've seen from Trump from his first term to now, right? He puts a number out there, then chooses to try to negotiate bilaterally for certain countries where he can choose to get a better deal for, obviously in this case, the steel industry or certain importers. And so for him to do that, that's where certain countries are going to agree and certain countries may not. And that's where the pressures he's trying to leverage.
He had tried that with China, jacking up the tariffs to 145%. But now Trump is accusing China of violating terms of a trade agreement the two nations made in Geneva, something China is strongly denying. So what does this do to all the goodwill that had been built up in those talks and the potential for a longer-term deal, which would certainly benefit both nations as well as the global economy?
Yeah, I think, the China and the U.S., and specifically China and Trump, this is a playbook. He's done this before, that we go to one extreme and then we come back. Unfortunately, he knows, and I think China knows too, that the economy is still very intertwined. So the markets specifically tend to watch the words and actions separately. So obviously signaling that when are they going to come back together? We keep seeing this. Yes, they just did it. And then in the last week, Sean, we've seen kind of everyone all over the place, but they will have to come together again to find some kind of maintained peace or stability, because at the end of the day, the business leaders are watching. They're monitoring not just the announcement, but the execution of some of these tariffs. Are they really happening? What are the multiple outcomes, especially sectors that are really critical that both countries really need? And that includes the tech supply chains as well.
Okay, Ryan, a quick two-parter here, because trade talks are about to take place between the U.S. and Europe, but there are warnings that Europe may want to move faster on retaliatory tariffs. And secondly, this nickname that Wall Street has given Trump, Taco, Trump always chickens out. Is it fair, or is this, as Trump likes to say, part of his negotiating tactics?
Well, the first part, I think, is Europe and any country in this case doesn't want to look weak to the U.S. for its own people, right? And so, we've seen the playbook from those dealing with the U.S. If a tariff is attached, you put, the minimum is what you've done back where the U.S. has done. So not surprised that, and they want to go quickly because Europe needs to figure out its own, issues that they have so it can build the economy. As for the second part, that has been, I know the term or a meme or whatever they're calling it in Wall Street, that's been his MO. It's been his MO from the beginning to create a better deal. His whole goal for him to show to the people that voted for him in is like, look, I got a better deal, even if it's, whatever that was existing. And that's what he's used as his tool and tactic to be able to do. And thus far, he's not going away from it because that's what he thinks he has leverage with. And he's even fighting the courts for that as well.